change the entire direction of your life, and you're all saved. So this is after salvation. I was saved since I was 13, so I was the Grinch and saved. It's possible. Trust me. But I was listening to Andrew Womack talk about in 1968, Vietnam, he fell into the love of God and was caught up and just basically was drunk with the Lord for months, right? And then it went away and he wanted to kill himself. So he prayed to God, please kill me. And God didn't kill him, thank God. Now we have Andrew. Arthur Mendez, I don't know how you say it. Arthur M. does one, I think it's called Heart Matters.
Oh, yeah.
Amen.
And similar topic, and what they said was, you cannot give what you do not have. Now, the reason I was the Grinch is I was hard-hearted. Now, I don't know if it was family problems, I don't know if I was too tight shoes, I don't know the problem. I have big feet, so it could be anything. But it was hard. I mean, when it was time to bury the dog, I buried the dog. I didn't cry. I just buried the dog. Dog needs to die. It's got to go to ground. What's the problem? I didn't feel it. When I held my daughter in my hands, I felt nothing. Nothing. Not positive, not negative. I felt nothing. I spent my life feeling nothing. There's this sound people make. It's, aww. I've never uttered this sound in my life. What is this noise? What does it do? What is it? Aww. Are you a goose? What is this noise? But I hear it all the time. So I take this EQ test. So I'm a bright guy. I score well on tests. So I'm going to take an EQ test, right? There's an empathy part of it. Now, it's out of 60, right? I scored an 8. It says in the thing that people that score this low should be tested for autism. Because these are the people who eat their neighbors and think it's okay. This is Sheldon Cooper. I was Sheldon Cooper. When something would go wrong, I would say, oh, you're upset. You need a hot beverage? Anybody knows the store knows what I'm talking about. So I don't have these feelings. I understand that other people do, and it's scary when other people don't, so I would just make nice, right? And I'm listening to Arthur, and I'm listening to the thing, and I'm like, I don't know what this thing is. What is this love of God, right? I know he loves me, I got that. You know, he loves me, take care of me, I got it all. So I prayed a prayer. I'm not telling you to follow along, I'm not telling you to pray this, because this altered my life in ways that I didn't necessarily want, okay? So be ready, because this prayer works. But I said, Lord, I want to feel your heart. Right? Didn't read it anywhere. Because if you listen to Andrew, he won't tell you how that happened. Arthur doesn't tell you how it happened. It just happened. And they said, you have to do it. I'm like, I'm not experienced, I'm logic. I'm faith, right? But I want to feel your heart. Well, nothing, I mean, we just linked it, like, truck didn't explode. But suddenly, I started getting, like, stories and things like that. And I've told one story the second year about a child that had left their child. And I would cry in the truck. I cried on the way here. Oh my God, I'm leaking. It's so horrible. So, I haven't made that noise yet, but it's coming, I am sure. So, what happens now, right? Suddenly, you know, there's a scripture, it's John 6:66, sign the devil, so it's easy for me to remember, right? Where he said, and I used to use this scripture all the time. This is where he told everybody you had to eat your blood and, you know, and eat your flesh, drink my blood, and then the disciples withdrew and were not walking with him anymore. And he turned to them, to the 12, and he said, you gonna leave too? So I had read that all my life. You preach the gospel, they don't want it. Okay, I just do my job, right? But when you read this, after you've touched his heart, you will see that it says, you do not want to go away, do you? He's not telling them to go away if you don't like it. He was devastated that these people left. And when I touch his heart, everything is different. People think, what happens, some people ask questions, what happens to people who died before Jesus? What happens to this? I guarantee you, our Father lets no one who wants to be with him go to the lake of fire. I guarantee you, he did not go through this effort to save his family who was taken from him to this level. So now, I can't help but suddenly, I want to do evangelism. I was just talking to him in the back. I said, what do? You talk to people all the time. I don't even know what to do. I asked my pastor, I said, hey, I need to go tell people. And he's like, just be authentic. We don't really do the street thing, it's not our thing, it's a rich church, But, I'm like, I'm dying here. I've got to tell people about this stuff. They need it.
Amen.
And this is not me. Right? So, before you go to bed tonight, if you want this, and you want to feel, I look at people, and I can tell you what they need. They may need a hug. They may need a friend. They may need some money. I just know. I never cared before. Suddenly I'm like, hey, you need something. I know you need something. I don't know what it is, but I know you need something. And I will go get it. And I will find it and give it to you. And I can't even afford it, but I give it to you anyway, because I have to. You will be driven. And it is awesome. Awesome. I kissed Marvin on the cheek. Right? Because the Lord showed me that he needed somebody to love him. Go figure, right? That's weird, but it did anyway. So, if you want to feel it, and every time, and Arthur in his thing, he says, somebody comes up to us and says, I love you with the love of God. And he goes, why, you don't like me? What's the problem, right? And I laugh. But there's a definite difference between me and that when I touch it, and all I have to do is just reach over there a little bit. I can't handle it for more than like an hour. It's too much. It's like, why am I crying? I should be laughing, right? But I don't know, I just cry. It's just touch it. So when I watch The Grinch at home on TV in front of my family, they laugh at me. When I watch Forrest Gump and he says, you're my Jenny, that's Jesus talking to you. That you're his Jenny, and I cry during Forrest Gump and it's Jenny. I can't help it anymore. It completely wrecked me. So, and if you tell anybody I work with, I know who you are. All right? So, I want you to think about that. If you really want, if you don't, maybe you haven't, maybe you go already, right?
Oh, yeah.
But if you had any problem like I did, any hard-heartedness, this takes it away. And my life is forever awesomely changed. All right? Thanks, guys.